Hey everyone, you're listening to the Listen Up Girl podcast, where I break down the week's biggest LGBTQ plus headlines, the stories that matter, the voices that inspire, and the moments that remind us why visibility still matters. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, and here's what's making news this Sunday, October the 26th. First in Alaska, queer ally wins in Alaska. History has been made in Fairbanks, Alaska, and yes, that's deep in Trump country. Mindy O'Neill, a self-described queer ally, just unseated anti-LGBTQ plus Mayor David, marking a major shift in one of Alaska's most conservative regions. Proves, who previously opposed pride celebrations and anti-discrimination protections, was defeated after a campaign focused on inclusion, transparency, and local economic growth. O'Neill's victory is celebrated across the country as proof that even in a totally red area, voters are ready for a change and for leaders who stand on the side of equality. That gives me so much hope that in the middle of Alaska, this person that is a queer ally, so maybe we have a chance still in this country. Next story, Hailey Bieber speaks out against gender trolls. On an episode In Your Dreams with Owen Thiel, Hailey Bieber got real about being targeted online, specifically by trolls who question her gender identity. Instead of brushing off the hate, Bieber used her platform to share a message of empowerment and solidarity with the transgender community. She says she refuses to let misinformation or bullying define her and called compassion and awareness in digital spaces. Her words come at a time when trans visibility remains under attack, and fans are praising her for using her voice to uplift others. Good for you, Hailey. Next, the White House targets Democrats. The White House has quietly updated its website, and not in a good way. It now includes a major events timeline that's drawing criticism for listing scandals involving past Democratic presidents, while omitting or justifying Donald Trump's destruction of the part of the East Wing earlier this week. Among the major events listed are Bill Clinton's affair, Barack Obama's supposed tie to terrorism, a long-debunked conspiracy theory that Hunter Biden's drug use, and Joe Biden's support for trans rights. Critics say it's a blatant attempt to rewrite history and distract from the growing outrage over Trump's recent actions. Donald Trump will do anything he can to try to take any negativity away from him. But those Epstein files will be released one day, I believe. Next, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I have to start this by saying I thought she was going to be an ally. I thought she was switching sides, and then I read a story like this. So Marjorie Taylor Greene targets Netflix. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is urging her followers to cancel their Netflix subscriptions, this time over the children's series Strawberry Shortcake, Berry in the Big Sky. Greene claims the show is promoting trans ideology, using the outrage to push her latest anti-trans bill. It's yet another example of how some far-right politicians weaponize children's media to spread misinformation and fear around gender inclusion. I'm telling you, Marjorie Taylor Greene says something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to go to our side and support the LGBTQ plus community, and then she comes out with something like this. So I'm losing hope with her. Next, fake LGBTQ plus news floods Facebook. A troubling trend is spreading across Facebook. Fake LGBTQ plus news stories designed to sow division. Posts have falsely claimed that the Dallas Cowboys player CeeDee Lamb refused to wear a rainbow armband, that Olympic Molly O'Callaghan threatened to quit over trans swimmer Lai Thomas, and that Sam Smith criticized conjoined twins for using them/they pronouns. None of those stories are real. Investigators by sportscasting and other outlets found zero credible sources for any of those quotes, and in some cases, statements were swiftly debunked by athletes themselves. Experts warn that social media moderation declines and AI-generated content increases. False stories about queer and trans people are spreading faster than the truth, deepening polarization and eroding trust online. According to a landmark MIT study, fake news travels 6 times faster than real information on social platforms. Very sad, but that's true. So if you want real LGBTQ plus news, listen to my podcast, and it comes out, I'm about averaging 5 days a week, so listen to it. and then you will get the real truth. I spoke about this news story on yesterday's podcast, but I wanted to just kind of bring it up again in case you did not listen to it, because this is an important one. The Supreme Court has announced it may take a case that could challenge the right to same-sex marriage nationwide. The case centers on Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, who refused to issue marriage license to same-sex couples after the court's 2015 Oberfeld versus Hodges ruling. Davis argues that forcing her to issue those licenses violated her religious freedom. Justices will discuss the case in a private conference on November 7th, with a decision on whether to proceed potentially coming out as soon as November 10th. If the court does take this case up, it could reopen debates many thought were settled, reigniting fears that LGBTQ plus marriage rights are once again on the line. Again, I say this every time I talk about the U.S. Supreme Court taking on, but Kim Davis should not be the model for the conservative religious people, because she has been married multiple times, fathered different baby daddies, and she got pregnant out of wedlock. She's just, this is who they have representing this. Sad. Next, we go to Maine. Senate candidate apologizes for homophobic post. In Maine, Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner has apologized after a past anti-LGBTQ plus Reddit post and a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol resurfaced. Planter, a Marine Corps veteran and oyster farmer, admitted to making indefensible remarks years ago using homophobic slurs using the username P. Hustle. In a public video, Planter said, "For those of you who have read these things and have been offended, I'm deeply sorry." He has since had the tattoo removed and pledged to living a loving life centered on service and accountability. Plattner is running in the Democratic primary, hoping to unseat longtime Republican Senator Susan Collins. Well, that would be a tough one, because you have somebody that's homophobic and had a Nazi symbol on his thing, but he's running against a Republican, Susan Collins. Like, I would not know who to vote for. I had to really do some research if I lived in Maine. My last story is Illinois' Army captain runs for Congress to defend LGBTQ plus rights. In Illinois, Army Captain Dylan Blaha says Democrats have been rolling over LGBTQ plus rights, and he's running for Congress to change that. Blaha, a biochemist and combat medic who served in Afghanistan and Germany, is challenging Democrat Representative Nikki Butsinski in the 13th District. He's centering his campaign on defending queer and trans Americans, saying, "What's happening right now to trans people, drag performance, and queer America is not okay. Somebody needs to stand up." Blaha's campaign includes trans and non-binary staff, and he's developing research-based policy proposals to strengthen federal protections. He calls himself a fighter ally grounded in the belief that when government stops valuing human life, it starts small, and that's why you stand up early. Wow, he is an amazing guy. If I lived in Illinois, I would be voting for him. He sounds amazing. And that's all for today's Listen Up Grow podcast. From Alaska to Illinois, from social media to the Supreme Court, one thing's clear: the right for truth, equality, and inclusion is far from over. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, reminding you to stay informed, stay kind, and mostly stay loud. See you next time for more LGBTQ plus news.